Before we begin, viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following is for educational and entertainment purposes. Only this is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony of the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported by Inner City Press. It crashed down like a lightning bolt from a clear blue sky. Kid Rock stormed the federal courtroom. No warning, no posse, just a lone warrior clutching a folder poised to rip through the music industry's silence like a runaway freight train on a collision course. This wasn't about catchy beats or petty rivalries. It was a fearless crusade for justice. Decades of buried secrets simmered, a volcano of truth ready to erupt with ferocious intensity. Rock strode in, a rebel with a cause, demanded the spotlight, and unleashed a torrent of jaw-dropping revelations that left the gallery stunned, mouths agape, and Diddy's defense scrambling to catch their breath. No one saw this tidal wave coming. Not the press with their eager pens, not the court with its rigid protocols, and certainly not Diddy, whose empire trembled in that instant. From that explosive, game-changing moment, the trial twisted into uncharted territory, a battlefield where lies would bleed. Kid Rock didn't just show up to speak. He arrived to unmask a legacy, to drag hidden horrors into the light. His scorching, unapologetic words about surveillance, silence, and a chilling pattern of abuse might just hammer the final, deafening nail into an empire that dared to think it was untouchable, invincible, a titan above the law. Federal courtrooms are sanctuaries of order. Measured paces, rehearsed lines, and ironclad security form a predictable dance. But on the seventh day of the Diddy trial, chaos smashed through the gates like a battering ram. It began with a faint, ominous creak. Double doors swinging wide at 11:12 a.m., a sound that echoed like a warning shot. Heads whipped around, hearts pounding, eyes expecting a clerk's mundane shuffle or a tardy juror's sheepish entrance. Instead, a figure emerged, a vision in a sleek black tailored suit, sunglasses blazing like shields of defiance, gripping a thick folder sealed with a gold clip, and a steely, unyielding resolve. His stride was bold, purposeful, a man on a mission through a minefield. His face, a mask of mystery, betrayed no fear, no doubt. Kid Rock. He didn't utter a sound, didn't pause for permission or a welcoming nod. He marched, unwavering, to the front left bench of the gallery and planted himself, eyes boring into the judge like lasers carving through steel. Whispers ignited like wildfire, a frenzy rippling through the crowd. Reporters scribbled furiously, ink flying across notebooks. The bailiff froze mid-stride, stunned, as if time itself hesitated. Prosecutors shot wary electric glances, pulses racing, but Diddy's reaction stole the spotlight. He lifted his gaze from a hushed, tense chat with his lawyer, eyes locking onto Rock like a predator sensing a threat. His lips tightened, a trap ready to snap, his composure cracking like thin ice. A juror later swore it was like watching a grenade detonate in slow motion, fragments of shock scattering across the room. Kid Rock, long a rebel outsider to Diddy's glossy, manicured empire, never bowed to Hollywood's glittery rules, never danced at those notorious, shadowy after-parties, and sure as hell wasn't chained by the unspoken codes that muzzled others into submission. So when he brandished that hefty sealed folder, thick as a brick, official as a warrant, the room surged to high alert, a current of anticipation crackling in the air. The judge, startled yet steady as a rock, probed with a voice of authority. "Are you here in connection to the prosecution's witness list?" Rock's cool, piercing reply cut through the tension. "I've got dynamite I've held for years. It's time the truth explodes, loud and clear. No delay, no chaos, just a stunning, breathless freeze." The judge called a quick sidebar, a huddle of urgent whispers, then greenlit Rock's folder to the clerk with a nod. It landed on her bench with a heavy thud, a sound that reverberated, like fate sealing shut. For 12 tense, agonizing minutes, the courtroom held its breath, a silent storm brewing as she pored over page after page, her fingers deliberate, her focus unshakable. When she looked up, her face had hardened, eyes sharp with resolve. "We'll admit this as corroborative evidence of a pattern of behavior," she declared, her voice a gavel of finality. The room didn't erupt in noise, but in raw, electric tension. Something seismic had shifted, a fault line cracking wide, and Diddy felt the quake rumble beneath his feet. The folder's contents defied all expectations, not blurry snapshots or flimsy, whispered claims, but a razor-sharp arsenal, a meticulously forged weapon, cross-referenced, court-stamped metadata, ironclad timelines that pinned dates to deeds, and at least 5 sworn affidavits from ex-security guards, housekeepers, drivers, and aides, each voice a dagger of truth. Printed emails, travel logs, and incident reports from Diddy's own security firms stacked the proof, a tower of undeniable fact. This wasn't rumor, it was a fortress of evidence, built to last. The first blow landed hard on the jury, a 2017 incident report from a Miami estate manager exposing a female guest, Cassie, begging to flee a party, her voice desperate only to hear a cold, crackling radio command. She doesn't leave until he says. Next, a hotel chain's internal memo flashed across the screen, a cryptic pulse of dread, flagging privacy restrictions for VIPs with prior incident marks, names hidden in shadows, but the sinister vibe unmistakable, a neon sign. Screaming trouble. These weren't parties. They were traps, gilded cages with locked doors. The third strike shattered the jury's calm like glass. A sworn statement from a 2016 tour audio tech, detailing surveillance monitors glowing in a private compound's basement, live feeds of rooms during private experiences, all logged, time-stamped, stored on external drives by a named staffer, a loyal soldier in a dark game. He listed camera models, network systems, exact update dates, precise, clinical, chilling. Cassie's lawyers nodded, unshaken, a quiet fire in their eyes as it synced with her harrowing claims. Diddy's team scrambled through binders, frantic for a lifeline, a procedural shield. But the evidence stuck like cement. The jury leaned in, rapt, and for once, Cassie's story wasn't just heard. It was seen in stark, bone-chilling detail. A nightmare etched in black and white. Kid Rock sat like a statue, hands clasped, a sentinel of truth. No smirk, no sound, just a steady, unrelenting gaze that burned through the room. After a brief recess, a pause heavy with dread, the court roared back to life, a cauldron of anticipation. The judge leaned in, voice firm as granite. "Mr. Ritchie, if you're ready to speak, this court is listening, and the world is watching." Kid Rock rose. No notes, no hesitation. A warrior bearing his soul. "I'm not here for fame or flashing lights," he growled, his voice a low, fierce rumble. "I'm here because the truth's been smothered under platinum plaques, billion-dollar grins and velvet ropes for too damn long." He unleashed a firestorm. Years of messages, emails, late-night pleas from terrified voices. Souls too scared to go public, their whispers haunting his nights. It sounded insane at first. Wild tales from the edge, he admitted. Until the stories aligned. Same fear, same raw pain, different souls, all pointing one way, a compass of suffering. "I've toured with legends and devils, rocked stages with the best and worst, and I've ignored too much, turned away from shadows I should have chased. But when I saw Cassie glance back in that interview, fear flashing in her eyes like a trapped animal, it hit me. Fear doesn't lie, and silence can't hide it anymore." He'd gathered the folder's contents over 5 grueling years. Anonymous tips dropped in hushed emails, ex-staff confessions spilled in secret, a guilt-ridden friend's plea that broke the dam. He vetted every shred, every scrap, a detective of justice, then handed it to Cassie's team, vowing to testify, to stand tall. "Here I am," he thundered, voice rising like a tempest. "Not a hero, but sick to my core of this industry devouring people, spitting out their bones, and calling it art." He locked eyes with Diddy, a stare of pure defiance. "You don't scare me. You never did, and your time's up." The courtroom froze. A vacuum of sound. The jury hung on every syllable, hearts racing, and the trial's pulse shifted for good. This wasn't testimony, it was a reckoning, a blaze ignited by Kid Rock, and the flames were spreading fast. Silence gripped the room, a heavy, suffocating cloak, as prosecutors unlocked a witness log, turbocharged by Rock's earth-shaking bombshell. Witness 9, Cynthia M., a former personal chef for Diddy's LA mansion retreats from 2016 to 2019, stepped up, a quiet woman with a steely edge. No guesses, just hard proof. Payment logs, kitchen orders, schedules syncing with Cassie's nights of alleged isolation, restraint, or private entertainment prep. Each document a breadcrumb of dread. Asked to paint the scene, Cynthia's voice trembled with unease. A quiver of memory. Rules were brutal, a cage of control. No eye contact with Cassie unless she looked first, a forbidden glance. No speaking without Mr. Combs' nod, his approval a golden key. Once I dared ask if she wanted avocado on her salad. He overheard, eyes flashing like a storm, sidelined me, and I never spoke to her again, my voice stolen by fear. She unveiled a twisted secret code, green for Cassie, calm and ready. A puppet on strings, yellow for tears or turmoil, a warning of cracks, red for party canceled. A rare escape, but red rarely hit. Someone always fixed her first. A chilling repair to keep the show running. Jurors scribbled wildly, shivers racing through the room, a collective chill. Prosecutors flashed Cynthia's digital logs, deliveries for secret gatherings. Cassie's, name erased, scratched out like a ghost. VIP in its place, a label dripping with menace. She recounted Cassie, 1 a.m., tears streaming like rivers, clutching a bathrobe, a fragile shield, whispering, "I can't find my phone. I think he took it again." Her voice a faint, desperate plea. Cynthia balked, fear gripping her heart, dreading fallout, and was axed 2 weeks later, cast out like debris. "I left," she said, voice low, haunted, "because it felt less like cooking and more like hiding a crime, a secret I couldn't bear to guard." Prosecutors then dropped Exhibit 78B, surveillance timestamps and access logs from 3 Diddy properties, a map of shadows traced via chain of custody to a retired bad boy security consultant, a man who'd seen the underbelly. One entry seared, like a brand. January 5, 2018. Freak Room 2 feed adjusted at 8:42 p.m. Visitor ID, Cassie Ventura. No exit log until 2:03 a.m. Jurors edged closer, breath held, eyes wide. Freak Room, whispered in blogs, hinted in ex-artist tales, now glared on paper. Verified, a horror show unveiled. Guest bedrooms in Miami and LA mansions, rigged with dim, eerie lights, full mirrors reflecting fear, hidden cameras, two-way glass, a voyeur's dream, recordings encrypted, stashed in vaults, labeled with aliases to dodge ties, a cloak of deception. Kid Rock fueled the fire, handing prosecutors a USB 2 weeks prior, partial files tagged Baker House Sessions, Studio 19 visits, VIP 1 Raw, a cryptic catalog of secrets, some corrupted, some locked tight, but texts cracked. Metadata, pinning dates, places, a trail of truth. In a decrypted audio played in secret, a voice, matched to Diddy's, snarled, "She's not leaving? Get the phone and shut the mirror," a command dripping with control. It tied to the January 5th log, a perfect, damning fit. Diddy's lawyers cried foul, voices rising, calling it shaky, unproven. But the judge shot back, firm as steel. Patterns are critical, and this holds weight. It stood. Kid Rock watched, unflinching, a quiet force, as a screen timeline linked Cassie's claims to recordings, logs, and timestamps, a web tightening around Diddy. This wasn't just a story. It was a fortress crumbling, a dynasty collapsing in real time. The air thickened, heavy as a storm cloud, as the next witness, a former bad boy studio engineer in New York, Dave, took the stand. No delay, no fluff. He struck hard, a hammer of truth. There was a culture of silence was your shield. See something? Zip your lips. Hear a whisper? Tune it out, unless you are hungry for a swift exit from your gig. Dave, a wiry studio tech with a knack for staying invisible, spilled a haunting memory from early 2019. Cassie stumbled into the studio, her frame trembling, eyes wide with a terror that clung like damp fog. She wasn't on the call sheet, yet guards ushered her into Green Room 2, a cryptic label from hushed internal memos, a code for a chamber bristling with cameras and mics, a liar built to watch every breath. An assistant, young and jittery, dared to challenge Diddy, her voice a faint quiver. Should we send her home? His response sliced through the air, cold and unyielding. She leaves when I say she's done. Dave, heart pounding in his chest, felt the weight of that moment. He fumbled with his phone, hitting record, capturing that steely, controlling snarl. Later in the courtroom, the prosecution leaned in. Still got the file? Dave's nod was firm, his jaw tight. Emailed it to myself from my personal account. Cloud's a snake, can't trust it. The courtroom fell into a suffocating hush. The prosecution played a crisp, cleaned-up cut of the audio. Diddy's voice, sharp, commanding, a frigid blade, echoed off the walls. Juror 4, a middle-aged woman with a kind face, winced hard, her eyes squeezing shut as if to block the sound. The air grew thick, electric with dread. Then, the prosecution detonated their boldest move. They summoned Kid Rock back to the stand, not just to bolster Cassie, but to rip the veil off a festering system. The rocker, grizzled and unbowed, strode forward, his boots thudding with purpose. I had zero to gain, everything to lose, he growled, his voice a gravelly blaze. But when a machine like this hides in the dark for decades, you don't whisper, you roar its name. This wasn't about torching one man's legacy. It was about smashing a culture's iron grip, a silent pact that snarled, keep quiet, or your career's dust. Kid Rock's eyes burned, sweeping not just Diddy, but the slick lawyers, the gawking gallery, the rapt jury. I don't give a damn what it costs me, he thundered. What I saw, it claws at my sleep, keeps me pacing at night. He stepped, down unshaken, a lone torch in a storm. Diddy sat, face rigid, a king perched on a throne of cracking ice, the fractures spidering beneath his weight. The defense scrambled, tossing weak jabs, but nothing could blur the searing image of Kid Rock, a rebel walking away, head high, purpose blazing. By the seventh stretch of that grueling day, the courtroom's gasps had faded to a stunned, heavy silence. Jurors, once fidgety, now sat like statues, grappling with the vast, ugly web unspooling before them. The prosecutors weren't just hunting Diddy's sins, they aimed to topple the whole rotten framework that propped him up. Kid Rock had handed them the blueprint, a map to the shadows. Next, they unveiled a bombshell. Documents from Shadow, Track Entertainment, a defunct shell tied to Bad Boy's underbelly. No website, no hits, no social pulse, just a ghost operation. A slush fund for Diddy's secret fates. Ledgers spilled. Names. Event planners with darting eyes. Caterers serving more than food. Safety escorts, with grim faces, all bound by NDAs tighter than a noose. The contracts dripped with menace. Clauses like, attendee silence or forfeit all claims, and your presence greenlights audio, video, every move captured. Kid Rock, recalled to clarify, gripped a tax sheet, his voice low but fierce. Got this from a fired accountant, a whistleblower too scared to stick around, he said. I didn't get it at first. Pages of numbers, cryptic labels. Then it hit. Dozens paid to watch, gagged from talking. He pointed to a line, $12,000 for equipment sanitation, another $9,000 for session supervision. Dates that locked step with Cassie's chilling accounts of private nights, events where she was primped and prodded for Diddy's whims. Jurors shifted, chairs creaking, discomfort rippling like a current. To hammer it home, the prosecution brandished a subpoenaed Bad Boy HR memo, a paper dagger. It urged staff, steer clear of personal ties with VIPs, especially red zone weekends. Those words, red zone, pulsed with menace, defined as peaks of privacy, executive rule unchecked. Diddy's name faded. The corporate beast shielding him loomed larger. Kid Rock, with just a folder and a mic, had cracked the vault wide open. His words lingered, a spark in a powder keg. By the afternoon recess, the mood shifted. Diddy's defense team, once cocky, now looked like sailors on a sinking wreck. Objections flew, feeble and frantic, swatted down by the judge. The jury, locked in, leaned forward, eyes sharp, hearts racing. Then, a jolt no one saw coming. Sonia Lane, a former MTV exec producer from a 2015 Diddy special, broke a decade of silence. Inspired by Kid Rock's fire, she'd dialed the prosecution at dawn. The judge, stern but fair, let her take the stand. Sonia, poised yet haunted, painted the scene. Cassie, slated for a quick cameo, arrived pale, eyes vacant, a shell of herself. Diddy, all charm turned to ice, barked at crew. "Clear out! Don't wreck my vibe!" Doors slammed shut, locking for 45 agonizing minutes. Sonia faced the jury, voice steady but heavy. Cassie staggered out, tears streaking her face. He strutted, grinning, untouchable. A juror's pen clattered to the floor. Another's fist clenched, knuckles white. Kid Rock in the gallery sat stone still, his impact a tidal wave. The defense lunged for a recess, pleading to digest Sonia's late bombshell. The judge, unswayed, snapped, "This court's been patient. We march on." Diddy's mask slipped, lips a thin slash, eyes hollow. The swaggering mogul, now a man staring down a crumbling rain. Before the gavel fell, the judge, in a rare nod, let Kid Rock speak last. He rose, suit crisp, eyes alight with grit. "I figured they'd paint me a loudmouth rocker, a guy with a grudge," he rumbled. "Maybe I am, but what I saw, what I know, it festered, gnawed my gut. I couldn't let it rot." He paused, the room hanging on his breath. "Why me?" people will ask. It's simple. When power preys on the weak, it's everyone's war. He jabbed a finger toward Cassie, her face a quiet storm. She sat silent for years, convinced no one believed her, crushed by a man with the world in his fist. He inhaled, voice rising. "I'm here to say, we believe you, Cassie. I believe you. And from this courtroom's fire today, a hell of a lot more do too." No claps, no cheers. Just a sea of eyes turning to Diddy. Defiance drained, fear crept. In, a king unmasked. Court recessed. Outside, headlines roared like wildfire. Dawn broke, June 1st, 2025, and the world ignited. "Kid Rock torches Diddy," screamed news feeds. Hollywood quakes. Shockwaves raced beyond tabloids, slamming Capitol Hill. Senator Lisa Donnelly, on MSNBC, thundered, "This isn't one artist, one victim. It's a shadow culture festering too long." Congress buzzed, demanding a reckoning on industry NDAs, power's dark reins. By noon, 4 A-listers bolted from Diddy's orbit, statements sharp and swift. A longtime ally posted on Instagram, voice tight, "Recent testimony forces me to cut ties, rethink past bonds." Streaming giants dealt a quiet gut punch, yanking Diddy's projects, pending review. A major brand, once flaunting him in ads, erased every frame. Deal frozen. Then a haunting echo from the web. A fan clip, buried for years, resurfaced. Cassie, soft and spectral, told a mic, "Trust your gut, girls. Glitz blinds. Some doors lead to danger." The words, once ignored, now chilled. The world leaned in, ears open, hearts pounding. Diddy left court that night, guards a silent wall, and cameras a flashing storm. No smirk, no wave, no glance. Upward. His empire didn't just wobble, it was dismantled, brick by brick, by raw truth, bold testimony, and one unyielding voice: Kid Rock.